Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind podcast.
This week on the show, we're going to talk about Fight to Win Pro 62, Jake Shields versus Kit Dale, the Copo Podio Iron Brown Belt Europe event. We're also going to talk about an event that Josh and I were caught off guard by, the Spyder Championships that happened this weekend in Korea. Also the
UAE JJF announcing their 10-year anniversary. We'll also get into some future events such as Polaris Pro 6, EBI 15, the Featherweights. We'll talk a pinch about Pans, which comes up next month, and a few others.
I'm Maine with my co-host Josh, and we're going to get right to it. So jumping right into news.
Leandro Lo got brained.
Got hit with a bottle.
Got smashed in the face with a bottle while he was out partying. There's also a picture of the guy he punched in the face and broke his orbital bone, apparently.
So
supposedly.
It looks
allegedly.
like a pretty bad cut, too. It was not a small gash on his, looks like eyebrow, forehead area.
The guy smashed the face with a fucking beer bottle. What do you expect?
I mean, I expect you're a world-class athlete. Like, you're a little more impervious to that kind of stuff.
He parties.
Look, Josh, if I get a black belt, like, I assume I'm impervious to, like, bottles and stuff now. Like, that's, I just assume that happens.
It was just amusing reading the internet's response. A lot of people were like, I heard he was a piece of shit. And other people were like, yeah, we had him in and he was a dick. I was like, my experience with him was great. He was a very nice gentleman, but can't speak for everybody. So he was nice to me. He might not have been nice to you, but he was out on the town, got hit in the head with a beer bottle. Apparently telling somebody you're a multiple-time world champion in jiu-jitsu doesn't really mean anything, and you'll get hit in the face with a beer bottle.
I wonder if he has any events coming up or anything that in the very near future he's competing on, and if this will affect him competing due to the cut or due to like something else going on.
Normally, stitches-wise, they're out in like 10 days max. I don't think it will affect anything, and I don't think he's going to be doing anything till Pan Am's anyway.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So the King of the Mats was announced by the Abu Dhabi Pro. They invite a bunch of former champions to compete. And mind you, there's no list because they're sending the invites and they're just waiting to get a response. They're going to compete for a lot of money.
About $70,000. So UAE Jiu-Jitsu Federation has this. They're having a big 10-year anniversary event that they're calling King of the Mats. And the prize is like, I think, a total of $70,000. They send out all these invites and then they will fly people out and they fly their competitors in and pay for their hotels to have them compete on this event and basically see who is the king of the mats in air quotes there.
Yeah, it happens on the last day of the final part of the tour. After all of the pro qualifier things are done, once you're in Abu Dhabi and you're doing the big money tournament, this happens on the last day. So
it's like a second tournament after the big tournament.
It's like a tournament of super fights, if you will.
Like a king tournament, Josh?
Yeah. What else did we pick up? We watching a lot of stuff. So Wagner Hosha's daughter ripped off another girl's arm.
Looked like it was at the ADCC Open down in Florida this weekend. It was just based on the Instagram post I saw of Wagner and his daughter.
Ripped off her arm with a sweet Kimura. That's was awesome. What else? Let's see. 10th Planet Top 25 pound for pound list was released.
The infographic came out on looks like Instagram is where I got it from, at least, Josh.
I'm confused. I'm left without words, which is hard to do because I talk all the time. Why do you release that? Why?
It seemed like a little odd. I've not seen other organizations release their top pound for pound, but honestly, 10 Planet has done that for a long time. They have a list of who they think their top guys are in. Jesus, wow. They have a list of who they think their top guys are in their organization by pound for pound list. I just think some of the names on that list are a little odd. I mean, there's something.
What stands out to you? What stands out to you, Maine?
Grace Gundrum, the number 11. They're number 11 in their top 25 of what does Eddie have now? 70 plus schools worldwide.
I think over 100.
I see the number gets bounced around and they kind of change it.
They say a whole bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
Worldwide. You know, because the earth is flat.
Oh, John, don't give me that. And Grace is very, very good, but what is she? 13, 14?
Something like that.
Something
She
like
weighs
that.
105 pounds.
105 pounds. And you really think if you scale her up to 155, which is, I think where the majority of the top 10th planet people fall out, do you really think that she beats a bunch of the other 10th planet black belts in your organization?
No. So she's number 11, and Adam Sacknoff is number 12. If you scaled her up to Adam Sacknoff's size, do you think she would be as effective?
Yeah, and we'll talk about Adam Sacknoff later.
Shortly.
Later in this podcast, because he was on Fight to Win Pro 62, last night. There was a couple of just odd things on this list that make me go, this is a weird pound for pound list. You have Tony Ferguson on the list, which again, he's the lightweight champion, outstanding grappler. He won the interim title with a triangle on Kevin Lee, but doesn't compete in jiu-jitsu to my knowledge. He's an MMA fighter. So there's just some kind
10th planet was made for MMA, bro.
And sure it was. And how many... I hate that argument because there's nobody... The guys that do the 10th planet stuff, you have one guy, Ben Saunders, is like the one guy that uses the 10th planet system with the high rubber guard in MMA. Tony Ferguson doesn't really use 10th planet stuff in MMA. He does a lot of funk rolls. He does a lot of Imanari's and other weird stuff in scrambles, but he doesn't really play the 10th planet game.
I don't know, but really quick, we'll give you the top 10. You can find it on Eddie Bravo's Instagram. Top 10, number 1, Gio Martinez. Number 2, Nathan Orchard. Number 3, Richie Martinez. Number 4, Elvira Karpinen. She beat Mackenzie Dern at ADCC. That's her. PJ Barch at number 5. Denny Propakos at number 6. Tony Ferguson at number 7. Marvin Castell, who we've heard also could possibly be Castile.
I think it's Castell. They announced him this week on Fight to Win as Marvin Castile, but he was just on BJJ, Inside BJJ podcast for about an hour-long interview that we'll touch on a little later.
They called him Castell.
And they called him Castell.
So did Eddie Bravo on, lead-up videos. Anyway, after that, another Fight to Win competitor, Jeremiah Vance, at number 9, and number 10 is Ricky Lulay. You can see the rest of the list on Instagram or, do a quick Google search and find that. It's just weird.
Yeah, just some interesting people on this list. Yeah, it was interesting. So we thought we'd bring it up and touch on it. So finishing off news, Flow Grappling launched a podcast.
And I don't know, is it on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud?
It is actually. I checked. It's at least on iTunes. I didn't check where
everywhere
else it is.
You can download podcasts.
I didn't check, Josh. I checked it on iTunes. It's there. It's about 30 minutes long.
Yeah. And what they're doing is obviously listening to our podcast and taking that and then making it more boring. They are biting our stees. I'm just messing around. They're doing their thing. I don't know if people are going to sit there and download it or just watch it on the site when they release it.
Comes out a little later in the week than our show. I think it comes out on Thursday afternoon.
It has some of the same elements where, whatever. We found a little niche. They apparently were like, we don't see anybody doing this. They sit in a cool room. We do not. We sit in Maine's, air quotes, recording studio.
It's an office, Josh. Give me some credit here. I mean, there's dead habanero plants behind us. It's an office, though.
There's weight bars and there's a guitar and creepy action figures behind us as well. But it's a little thing. They go on. They typically
only touch on flow stuff, and they only touch from at least the first episode came out this week. It was very, very short form. They only talked about a couple of different matchups. It was the main events, and then it seems to be highlighting their highlight things for Flow Grappling. These are the main events that they're showcasing, and then they went into drama for a while, and then
they bring up what's coming up during the week and cover on some of the things. They did bring up Herbert, but they obviously don't call him Herbert. I really hope that catches on at some point, and we can lay claim to him being Herbert.
Herbert Santos.
If you
don't get that joke, listen to last week's episode.
Yeah.
Where we talk about Herbert Santos.
But yeah, we are not salty. We will shout out any podcast like we will later when we start covering Fight to Win. So, good on Flow for doing something. They started one. I think they went 2, maybe 3 episodes in, and then they stopped just because it didn't work or something like that. Not sure. And they're starting something new back up. So good on them. We'll watch it and see how it goes. I mean, we listen to ourselves talk after we're done recording, so we'll listen to it.
Regardless, our show will still be here, and we're going to cover all submission grappling and
all of it. We're not going to say,
grappling.
hey, the videos will be up later in the week. And if you don't know what I'm talking about Spyder, where they brought it up and sent one of their guys to South Korea to cover it.
To go cover the event.
But they didn't live stream it. And you're not going to get anything from it for a couple of days at least.
On Flo's side, at least.
On Flo's site. When you could go to Spyder's Facebook page. And mind you, it's Spyder Championship because Spyder is a apparel company that does skiing and the such. You have to go to the BJJ part of it. And you can watch the whole live stream, which again, we'll talk about later.
Yeah, watch it, by the way, just a quick piece. Watch it on Facebook. Don't do what I do and find it on YouTube and then subtitle it and caption it with auto-translate into English and then have Josh come over to your house and tell you, what are you doing, idiot? It's on Facebook in English commentary. So I watched about a quarter of the Spyder event with Galvão talking in Portuguese and very poor Google Translate working overtime.
Great.
So that'll do it for news. A pretty light week as far as news goes. Moving on to Fight to Win Pro 62, Jake Shields versus Kit Dale. This event paid out $46,135 in salaries and commissions.
That shit looked packed.
That is the highest I've seen them pay out in at least 3 or 4 months, if not ever.
I think the highest one they paid out was the one that they donated to the hurricane.
I think that was like
$53,000. $50,000. Yeah. So that's coming close. Great card.
Beautiful venue too. Looked huge, nice. They looked over San Francisco or some other California place
that Maine has forgotten that he will edit in shortly.
No, I won't, Josh. I forgot where it was. I'll look it up later. It'll be later in the episode when we pause our recording and restart.
There was 17 submissions out of 33 matches. That was 51.5% submission rate. We can say, guess what? That 5 we're going to round up. Common Core math. 52%.
52% submission rate, and a good card all in all. I started watching this card. Usually I'll get to the card after a couple matches have been in, but I was able to watch this one from the purple belts all the way up to the black belts. Spend my Saturday evening watching Fight to Win Pro, and it was a good card. A lot of good matchups, very even matchups.
So you're saying it's good?
I'm saying it's fantastic, Josh. That's what I'm saying. It was a fantastic card from the purple belts all the way to the black belts. A lot of good action.
Yeah, I totally agree. Maine thought I was gonna cut in and interrupt him with something. I was letting him go. I was like, "Yeah, Maine, good job."
Yeah, Josh gave me the "I'm gonna interrupt you guys," and then didn't interrupt me and called it out.
Oh man, what can you say? It was one of the cards that you need to watch. If you missed it, wait a couple of days, let Flo upload it, and then watch it. Again, I wish they would just take the whole feed and upload that first. So you have something to watch. You might have to jump around a little bit and find what you want, but you won't have it.
But you won't because they list the start times. They list the start times of stuff on the other thing.
On the other part where they say what time, but that's not 100% accurate. And the start times aren't necessarily where it's going to be on the timestamp.
All right, Josh, you're hitting me with that logic over here.
Logic.
So on to the results. We're going to start off with the teen results.
So again, with the teen results, Khalees Sola defeats Alexis Yasano. You start me off with the teen result with a name I can't pronounce. Come on, you're screwing me up. Decision, fight of the night for the teens. I mean, there's only 2 matches, so you got to pick one of them. Helena Moisant defeats Haley Van by decision. Moving on to the purple belt results. Again, these Facebook names are going to kill me, and I'm glad I was looking at them before I just started talking. It was like, what the hell is this guy's name?
So for the show, just to key everyone in, we take the results that are posted on Flow Grappling and Facebook, and then we correlate those with the notes that we have for the event. So the notes we have for the event are typically the actual competitors' names, and the results that we're looking at to make sure that we have the right results are the Facebook names. So the first individual is
Arian Coolhalf Luke. You see, not cool hand Luke, cool half Luke. Defeats Amir Lacey by decision. Faisal Barakat defeats Robert Uribe by decision. Baldwin Chu defeats Francisco Barajas by choke.
And we've seen Baldwin Chu before, I think.
Yes. Carlos Capella defeats Glenn Holmes by cross choke. Cristina Nascimento defeated Gina Sudaria by choke. Michael Clark defeated Matthew Reynolds. Submission of the night. Not listed the submission, just submission of the night. Norman Aaron defeats Brian Gergis by triangle. Fight of the night for the purple belts.
This was a good fight. Go back and watch this. It was exciting.
Excite. And then Arvind K. Gupta defeated Sasha Fenman by decision. Moving on to brown belt. Derek Van Ness. That's right. His name is Van Ness.
Not Vs Ness.
Exactly.
As it was listed last week.
Defeats Jacob Pangelian by triangle. One of my favorite last names. Joseph Cropshot defeats Benji Silva by rear naked choke. Fight of the night. Brett Byron defeats Alex Yoakum by Darce. Ryan Walsh defeats Rich Flores by lapel choke. Tracy Pham breaks Victoria Tome's knee with a knee bar. Submission of the night.
Yeah, in my notes, it just says, ow, my knee.
Maine's notes are a thing of wonder and glory. I can give you my notes, but it's literally like a play-by-play, and you're like, why? Maine's notes are a smattering of like, this is what this is, ouch, or goddamn, and that's the note for the matches, goddamn.
It's a descriptive, Josh. Gives you the feeling of the match so that we can move back to your notes, which gave us a play-by-play, and me, and we can get, the feeling. What was going on in the match, Josh?
Which was goddamn. Jeremy Jackson defeated Andy Landaveri by toe hold. Awesome match. And they snuck it in the brown belt, but it was never mentioned as to what belts either of them are. Ramsey Nijum defeated Tyson Griffin by the most boring split decision ever. Oh God, I can't think of a more boring match.
Your match?
My match was pretty boring. Not that boring. Maybe that boring.
We'll get to the main event here at the end.
Black belt matches. Mike Mitchell sneaks it in at the end and defeats inside BJJ's own Tim Freeman by a rear naked choke. Tim Freeman's wife is very loud. I'm not saying she's annoying. I'm just saying she is very loud.
That is to put it lightly, Josh. She was also very close to the commentators.
Yes.
Which did not help her being very loud. She's not Eddie Alvarez's wife, but we're in the same ballpark.
We're getting there, and at one point, either she or the commentator bumped into the other one, and the commentator was like, sorry, Miss Freeman. It was just, it cut the tension. And we will definitely get to the commentary in just a moment.
Yeah. That was kind of funny, though, because they had just called her out for being a little loud, and Josh and I went, who is that? Is that his wife? And then 10 seconds later, one of them bumps into each other, and they got that interaction, and Josh went, yep, that's his wife. That's his wife.
Yeah. Dustin Akbari defeated Darren Cooley by decision. Rodrigo Antunes defeated Newton Casemiro by choke. Nicholas Green defeated Chris Calderon by Kimura. Daniel Ripper defeats Christian Hernandez by knee bar. I almost did it again. I almost called this guy Leonard. I almost said Leonard.
That's a callback to like an early episode of the show, Josh.
6 episodes ago at least. Almost called him Leonard. Leonard Alexander Canders Jr. defeated Shane Torres by decision.
If you've noticed, we've now figured that Josh reads these names far better than I do, and so we're sparing you the ridiculous butchering of the names every other episode. We'll be back to it on episode 15.
It'll come back. I love the really, really bad names and letting Maine pronounce them. Ron Kessler defeated Dom Hoskins by decision. Jason Butcher defeated Omar Costi by triangle. Jake Scoville defeated Keith Fukume by a steamer lock submission of the night. That shit was wild. Danny Bohagan defeated Evan Esgura by decision. Ahmed White defeated Adam Saknoff in a split decision, which was quite controversial on the internet. That was given fight of the night.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Sean Nickamurad defeated James Cotter by armbar. Sergio Luis E. Silva, we're getting a whole bunch of names, defeats Miles Lucas by split decision. Matthew Todd defeats Mike Murrell by decision. Travis Maglet defeats Marvin Castell, or Castile according to the commentary, by decision. And Jake Shields defeats Kit Dale by decision. Getting into these breakdowns and commentary, and Maine missing submissions because he's reading the instructions on a macaroni and cheese box.
Josh, it was artisanal. It wasn't just standard mac and cheese. And I still managed to mess it up.
It's mac and cheese. You heat it up if you're not making it yourself. If you don't have, noodles and you make a bechamel, that's the base for a cheese sauce. You're welcome. And it's Stouffer's or this artisanal mac and cheese. I can guarantee you it's probably about 3 to 5 minutes in the microwave.
No, this is stovetop, Josh. I'm a classy broad.
Oh, so you cooked it in a pot.
In a pot, Josh.
And you still messed it up.
I messed it up poorly. It was not great. And so I missed some pieces of matches.
We're messaging each other and I'm like, damn, that was a quick submission. He goes, what'd I miss? I was making macaroni and cheese. And mind you, I'm sitting down. I'm not even sitting down. I'm in my bed, laying down comfortably. The phone is like sort of over my head. I miss a match. I'm making mac and cheese. I dropped the phone on my face. The phone hit me in the face because I just started laughing because this is the shit that he does. It's like, I'm making mac and cheese. You can't like carry your laptop around or...
It was on my table, Josh. It was like midnight. It was like 12. It was like 12:30.
You're eating mac and cheese at midnight.
I was making mac and cheese at midnight. I was eating it at like 1 a.m.
Unbelievable.
Because I had no idea how long Fight to Win was going to go because I didn't keep track of the matches or have the match list up. I was just watching it like, a spectator. And we got to like midnight and I was like, I'm really hungry. And I've been looking at this box of mac and cheese for like 45 minutes and I'm going to do it. And then there was a tap that I missed. So, yeah, my bad, Josh. I made mac and cheese at midnight.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. Oh, God. I was dying.
Back off our mac and cheese tangent here. On to the breakdowns.
On to the commentary first. Maine and I are under the impression that the commentators were high as shit.
That's the only thing that could have happened. Like, Josh and I are commentary connoisseurs. So we break down commentary like we break down these matches.
And the commentary wasn't bad either.
It was fun. It was a
good.
Fun. The tone of it was good.
There wasn't well.
Big long breaks. There wasn't just like there was a lot of story time, and there was a lot of reactions.
One person talking, and then the other person going, "Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I was really into this match." I'm like, how are you not? You've got headphones on. Their voices in your ears, and you're not paying attention. What did you say at one point?
At one point, one of the guys, something happened, and the other guy just went, like every high guy in every movie ever just goes, when they get too high. He made that noise into the microphone, and they did it a couple times. Again, it was fun commentary. Like, they touched on the matches when they had really pieces and parts of jiu-jitsu that you need to break down for someone who's not at a high level, doesn't understand it. They did it, and they did it very well. I mean, I don't really have a huge problem with the commentary, but there was definitely pieces and parts of the commentary where I'm going, what are they doing? What are they talking about? Because they would just go off on some story time tangent for like half a match, and then they'd come back to the match. Good. It was fun commentary, but we thought we would bring up the commentary because
it wasn't even a fast submission. I'm rereading our back and forth, and it was the last 30 seconds of the Tim Freeman match where he got caught like with 30 seconds, give or take.
Yeah, because I figured, okay, he's going to decision him.
Oh, damn. I was literally reading the directions on a box of mac and cheese and missed it. And then my phone hit my face, and then I responded with your typical ha 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 ha. And take note of the match. I remember. And then I said, who reads the fucking directions on a box of mac and cheese? And he tries to avoid it by saying, are the replays new for the live events? Which they sort of are. And I was like, not really. And then he sends a picture of the mac and cheese that he's eating. Shit's artisanal. Didn't spell it right. I broke it down for him. Oh my goodness. And again, he said, you said they were high as the heavy Falcon X?
Yeah.
I lost it at that too. I totally lost it. And we're so talking about this commentary, and we should be talking about these matches. So again, going back, Tracy Pham destroyed Victoria Tome, I think it was. I can't remember because the commentary fucked me up and they possibly could have said it wrong. Anyway, she had this deep knee bar in. I'm like, ooh, this could be sketchy. And she was doing that Keenan Cornelius, defense, putting the arm over the knee to try to defend it. And that was not working. I thought her knee was going to come out the other side.
It kind of did a little bit. Like, I don't think the knee broke. It didn't do that. It looked like it sucked, Josh. It looked bad.
Yes.
And she tapped, and
then she limped away for a while. And hopefully, it's not terrible and she's okay. But it was a nasty fucking knee bar. I'm trying to keep my composure as well as going back through Maine and I's back and forth between match and him talking about his macaroni and cheese and me just trying to pay attention without giggling the entire time while he's talking about his mac and cheese. So that's a great match to watch. You need to go back and watch it when it's uploaded.
Also, you should go back and watch the Keenan match where he kind of debuts that knee bar defense where he puts his own hand under his own, over top of his own knee, to change the leverage point. Like, that was probably 2013 or 14.
That was versus Vinny Magalhaes in Metamoris
years ago. But go back and rewatch that because it's an amazing defense, and she kind of tries to incorporate that defense during this match unsuccessfully. So go back, look at the two, and see the difference in what Keenan's doing versus what she's doing to defend this particular knee bar.
Moving on, Jake Scoville versus Keith Fukame. Those two shot out of the gates, just moving and grooving, and Fukame grabs a foot, and I'm like, oh shit, is he gonna finish this super quick? And they're bouncing around, and Scoville turns over, and I can't really see because, again, this isn't a knock-on fight to win. They have two camera angles. They have one on one corner and one on the other, and sometimes you just can't see the angle.
Sometimes you're missing a side of the mat that they're both facing, and you're like, I can't see what's happening right now.
And whoever's picking between those two cameras is like, okay, this is the better angle, even if you can't see that much.
Honestly,
more.
that's usually they're correct. They usually are, with the camera angles they do have on the show, they do a great job of picking the best camera angle to show the action that you care about.
Yeah. So Scoville's down. I can't see what he's doing. I'm like, what's going on? Like, is he trying to wiggle out? What's all this? And then I'm like, wait, is his foot all screwed up? And is he about to? And as I'm thinking, is he about to Estima lock him? He Estima locks Keith Fukame. And again, submission of the night. Great submission. Great match. This card, again, this was in our back and forth text to each other about how many submissions there were. And we hadn't counted at that point, but to our knowledge, there was quite a few.
The thing about it, too, is there's different levels of entertainment for different submissions. Like, the way in which we were getting the submissions for these matches was fun. It was entertaining. You had good back and forth. You'd have someone establish dominant position, and they'd walk down, and they'd transition through until they got the submission. Or you had matches where you'd get flash submissions and quick submissions, like in the Danny Ripper match, where immediately Ripper snags up a knee bar, and you get Herbert Santos levels of tapping, once it gets locked in.
God, I love that. That's going to be my new thing, where people will be, what happened? Well, he just Herbert Santos. People, huh? He just tapped really quick. He just pulled a Herbert. Yeah, some of these were so quick, and you're hearing all these things. And again, where we were, Kurt Osiander was there coaching, and you hear him saying all this shit. And I'm just like, wow, this guy's really loud and saying really wild shit. And then he's like, oh yeah, now do this and then do that. And then his students do those exact things to a T. And the opponent can hear it and they can't stop it.
Which is a pretty good indicator of good jiu-jitsu and a good student coach relationship where your coach is yelling at you to do a specific thing. The competitor does the specific thing, and the opponent can't stop it. So that's always cool to hear.
That was the Nicholas Green versus Chris Cold Iron match, where Kurt's over there, and Nicholas Green, mind you, was a referee and had some badass glasses that was talked about again.
Yep. On our Twitter, I took a picture of it and posted it up during the event on the Twitter, which is one of the most badass referee pictures of all time.
And that guy was moving, trying to keep people in the ring as well and catching folks. Good on him. But he transitioned and trapped up the head and started moving. And he goes, good. All right.
This is Kurt, by the way. Kurt yelling at his competitor.
It's like, yeah, good. All right, you can go for the arm lock or the kimura. And he just was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to do the kimura. And grabs it, yanks it, and calls it a day. And that his nickname is Korean Bamba. You see him on his Kurt Osiender's move of the weeks.
Yep.
He's the breakdancing guy. And he did some breakdancing at the end of this match. These submissions, this card was excellent.
We've said it over and over again because
we say it a lot because we mean it.
Also, we watch a lot of jiu-jitsu, and there are many cards, many matches we watch that are not excellent. So when we get
Ramsey Nijem versus Tyson Griffin,
yeah, maybe.
God, snooze.
When we get a card where there's an exciting match, exciting card, we're very excited because we get to watch 4 hours straight of jiu-jitsu, and it's fun as opposed to it being a grind.
And we get to watch it again when it comes out again. Oh, so good. There's so much jiu-jitsu in so little time. It would be totally awesome if this was our full-time job and we could just sit there and just consume jiu-jitsu and train jiu-jitsu. That didn't really happen. That doesn't happen because Maine is the king of the sewers and I am the pauper of ramen bowls. I don't know. The court jester of ramen? I don't know.
The jester of Japanese ramen, Josh.
Okay. That works too. I don't have a good thing for that. So we say good and great and excellent a lot just because we actually fucking mean it. We're like, yeah. So moving on to the Ahmed White versus Adam Saknoff match. This is a split decision.
It was a split decision, Josh.
So Saknoff sits. He plays guard a lot, but
like most 10-planet guys do.
Yeah, for a guy his size, you'd figure he'd be a little bit more wrestly.
I would figure that,
but he was not. That's why he's number 12 on the pound for pound list.
Yep.
I still can't get over it. It's bothering me. And I'm again looking at Maine's notes. His computer hates him and changes everything, like Ahmed White's name, to Amazed. Amazed won a split decision on aggression. That'll tell you how that match went.
There was some back and forth on the internet where people disagreed with how this decision went. They thought it should have gone for Adam. And watching this match, again, there was some back and forth in it, but really, as I watch more of these events, I'm starting to understand more and more what Fight to Win Pro's criteria is for judging. And the commentary staff was very, very good this event on talking about exactly what their criteria was. And you're looking for submission attempts and good submission attempts, and that will win you the match. Not position, not takedowns, not anything else except for, are you trying to submit your opponent? Were you closer to submitting your opponent, and did you try to submit your opponent more than they tried to submit you? That is pretty much the only criteria that Fight to Win Pro is looking for. And so if you're more aggressive in an even match, you will get the decision, and that's what happens here. And the real reason I'm really emphasizing this and bringing this up is because AJ Agazarm had a match last week on Fight to Win Pro that he won a split decision and didn't think it had been a split decision. And so there was some question last week as to exactly what the Fight to Win judges are looking for. And this match, again, I think pretty effectively shows they're looking for submission attempts. And if their submission attempts don't happen, they're looking for aggression.
Yeah, look what AJ started. Now you're making people on the internet think that they can just judge and assume what's going on. Ridiculous. When nothing happens, and I've talked about it before. I will literally tell the competitors, don't make me pick who wins, because you're not going to be happy either. Somebody's not going to be happy. It happened to me the other week. You weren't, there was a guy that wasn't happy. I was like, I picked this guy. And he's like, well, why? And I explained myself, and he goes, that doesn't make sense. I was like, all right, sorry.
And there's stuff that happened in this match, but it was a pretty even match, and there wasn't it was an even match. And so when it's an even match, you went on aggression. If you're more aggressive, then that's what gets you the match.
So going on to Rodrigo Antunes versus Newton Casimiro. Casimiro's a judo guy, judo black belt. And
he came out in the judo black belt, didn't come out in a BJJ black belt.
Maybe he's still a BJJ black belt. Like, there's nothing
wrong with that. I'm just saying it's interesting. Usually guys on Fight to Win come out, if they're judo black belts, they come out in their jiu-jitsu black belt, not the judo black belt. He elected to come out in his judo black belt. I just thought it was interesting.
Oh, so you're worried about fashion choices now.
Josh, I'm always worried about fashion choices, which is the reason I'm going to talk about our next match after we talk about this match.
Right, the guy that wears the Kid Buu rash guards. So what was really funny about this match was at one point Casimiro like whacked his head, and something happened and the match stopped, and maybe the ref thought that he tapped.
Everyone was very confused.
It was very confused.
And then Seth yells.
Seth, you just hear he picks up his microphone. He goes, he didn't tap. And they're like, okay, well, let's start the match over again.
And they do. Which, in all honesty, is what I want to see. Like, if you make a mistake, okay, whatever.
And Seth has a good view of the matches. And I don't know if he has a feed of it as well. But he definitely is like right in eyesight of that. So if he's like, oh, I didn't see it. I mean, are you going to tell your boss no?
I'm not, Josh.
Yeah, I'm not either.
He didn't tap. Restart the match.
So it kept on going, and he eventually came around and snagged up a choke not too long after that, and actually won that time, not with a weird like smashing his head into the ground kind of thing.
The commentators later in the event talked about slams and getting slammed and what they thought about slams and their thoughts on it in the sport and if they like them, if they don't like them. And they mentioned that for elevated and raised mats, it's very, very hard to slam someone and have it mean something. And this is something that Josh touched on during our first podcast during his match with... I
think you just need to know how to slam people. Like that's something that's not practiced in just about any gym, except for that one viral video, and you see it on How to Get DQ'd in BJJ,
yep,
where the dude for his promotion got fucking power bombed,
yep,
and his soul left his body briefly, and then they were like, "Yeah, good job, you got promoted." People don't know how to slam.
Yeah, we worked it when I was in an MMA gym. You know, it was rare, but you learn how to do it to like what you're aiming to do if you get the opportunity to slam a guy and what you're looking to do with it. But BJJ guys, sport guys, I've never in a sport gym I've been at ever seen how to work a slam.
No, and it's one of those things where you'll see the guys that watched pro wrestling, they're like, "Oh, I know how to slam people." Because they just watch pro wrestling, they're like, I guess this will work. You know, I'm gonna hit a burning hammer on this guy and it'll totally knock him unconscious. Or, you know, I'm gonna power bomb him a la Rampage versus.
I'm gonna watch that Rampage gif over. That is
exactly.
Might be my top 5 moments in MMA of all time. Is Rampage lifting him up at great speed and then bringing him down even faster.
Well, yeah, but it was the headbutt that knocked him out.
It was, but, you know, Josh, why you got to kill my dreams?
I mean, I'll be 100% honest. If John Del Brudge did not hook my leg, I was aiming roughly to do the same thing. I didn't want to smash my head into his head because I didn't want to have to get stitches. But I was going to try to lift him up as quickly as possible and then drive my head near his solar plexus as I slammed him down to knock the wind out of him and stun him to get on top and take advantage of it. But you need to slam people effectively, and slamming is dangerous, but it's done. If done in the right way, you can use it to your advantage. If it's not done properly, you could severely injure somebody, and I don't think that's that's not what people want to do. And again, I like this rule that Seth has implemented. Slamming is a thing. It's almost like a submission. I think it's like, here's a submission, here's a slam. Like, slam is slightly under submission. If people know how to work them and know how to drop people to where they can use it to stun their opponent or, hell, knock them unconscious.
I don't think Fight to Win's ever had a
knockout by slam. Not that I'm aware of. And I think...
But as we get further in events, I'm seeing more guys using the slam. Like at this event, we had a guy...
do it from guard.
Over and over and over. Yeah. He slammed out of the rubber guard like 12 times.
I mean, it's effective because it's getting closer towards a real fight. And I believe Seth brought something up during the rules match. I can't remember 100%, but I think he mentioned, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think he mentioned that if you did knock somebody out, they would give them time to recover and continue. But don't quote me on it. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if that was the case. Whatever, I'll keep continuing if the guy wants to go. But if you get knocked out, you're out of it for a while.
You're done. That's when your coach steps in and goes, cool, you're done. Go to the hospital and have a nice day.
Right. And
you're done competing now.
Depending on the position, if you powerbomb a dude from triangle and you knock the wind out of him or you daze him, you're going to immediately go and try to choke him unconscious.
Yeah,
or
when
break a limb.
We saw Gio slam Glover.
Yeah, and Glover looked way out of it. He might not have been, but he looked way out of it.
Yeah, he looked like he partially knocked unconscious during that match. That was ADCC trials.
That was ADCC.
Oh, that was ADCC, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was during the actual tournament.
Yeah.
So that's what we feel about the slams. I think they're a good thing. I think they should be implemented in certain tournaments, not regular open tournaments like your run-of-the-mill around the area. But things like this, I think it would work pretty well in EBI if they implemented that. Everybody should start sharing ideas and using each other's rule sets.
And learn why you hook the leg.
Yeah.
On to the Seth Cotter versus the Sean Nickmerad match.
James Cotter.
What'd I say?
Seth.
My bad. James Cotter versus Sean Nickmerad. James Cotter comes out in a pink gi.
That's why this match is getting talked about. Not that it was bad, but Maine loves weird, goofy shit like pink gis, red gis, weird rash guards, stuff like that. So he's like, "Oh, I'm definitely talking about this."
Yeah, I'm that guy. I mean, 2018. We talked about it on the podcast. 2018. We're gonna be that guy. So this was a really good match. You saw Sean eventually get an Upa sweep, comes over, gets on top, knee cuts. He has really good control of the back, and you see the way he walks the legs up when he's on the back. Very, very methodical. He one point is aiming to go for a body triangle, but you see him not just jump for it with his legs. He walks his legs up, then he gets the knee position for locking the legs over for the body triangle, gets there, he waits, he continues to climb up. He almost gets into like a bow and arrow position when he's trying to trap the hand as he's sort of falling off to the side for the armbar. But he continues to turn. He gets the full armbar. The ending was a little weird for this match. James taps, but the ref doesn't see it, and it doesn't seem like Sean sees it. And so he kind of keeps extending the arm, and then eventually, like, a couple people start to yell, and then the ref stops the match. And it looked like James' arm was fine, but it was definitely a little bit of he tapped for sketchy. A little bit before the match was called.
It's still again, I wish they just uploaded the entire stream and you could go and find these matches immediately afterwards. We wait even if you release it Sunday morning at whatever time, just one giant clump of matches, you jump around where you want to jump around, and then later you have your singular matches added and you can remove the full thing. I just wish it was done that way instead. Going on, Marvin Castell versus Travis Maglet. Guess what Marvin did?
Went for that Eamon roll, Josh.
Yep.
But Maglet, I mean, you see everybody Marvin knows. Try to do this every time, and you see guys get super low and get their legs away from him because they know that he's going to go for it. Which is, look, if that's your thing and you go for it every time, awesome. I just don't think you're going to get another highlight reel finish. Marvin just hit that pretty much exactly a year ago. He was on Inside BJJ, their podcast, as well as the one of the women that helps run Fight to Win Pro was on that as well. So I think the whole episode is almost about 2 hours long. Marvin's on it for the first roughly hour. Talks about his upbringing, talks about moving into jiu-jitsu professionally, how he got into jiu-jitsu, his MMA fights, and then Fight to Win talks about how they run their event, and they go through what their goals are for the event in sport. It was a really great interview on Inside BJJ. It was this last week. Go back, listen to it if you're interested. I'd highly recommend it.
If you can go on Reddit, if you're on Reddit, you will see, and I'm blanking on her name, and I feel like shit because I've met her before.
Fight to Win Tortillas?
Yeah, I love Tortillas Fight to Win. That's her. That's her handle on the Reddit. So if you see her popping, she's very willing to answer any questions. Again, we posted something on there, and she responded saying, why these cards were moving around dates, and it's because Seth is helping his kid's got NFL aspirations, and he's trying to do everything he can to make sure that he makes it there. So Seth Daniels for Father of the Year for moving shit around so he can get stuff done with his kids.
Yeah, during the football season, they have him on Saturdays so they can do stuff with his kid. That's why they're not on Fridays during the football season.
Done and done.
So this match was good. The Marvin match. This match was won on slams. You saw repeated, I think, in the match at least 12 times, you would see Marvin go to like a rubber guard or a double bagger, and then he would get slammed out of it. And then he would get slammed out of it again. And he would get slammed out of it again. And the slams weren't hard. They weren't going to knock him out, but you would see Marvin not able to hold that rubber guard position because he kept getting slammed. And I think that's what won the match for him, because the last couple minutes of the match were Marvin in the guard trying to establish rubber guard and control, and him just getting slammed repeatedly. I think that's what won it for Travis.
Yeah, again, the slams changing. I don't think people really think about it until they're in the heat of the moment where they're like, oh yeah, I can do this.
Yeah, and look, the technique, Travis has good technique on the slams. You would see the way he changes Marvin's hips, gets him up, lifts him, and then brings him down with some force. He's not just like lifting and dropping. He's actually bringing him through to put the force into Marvin, into like his back and his neck, on the slam. So go back, if you rewatch this, if you are curious about how to slam effectively, you have a couple minutes of good slam attempts from Travis in this match.
So that brings us to the last match of the night, Jake Shields versus Kit Dale. My prediction was incorrect, where Jake Shields did not murk Kit Dale very quickly. It went to a decision. Kit Dale came into a weird fucking song. I don't even know what it was.
You know the meme song that has like He-Man or something? And like, hey, 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 hey. He came out to a remix of that song.
So he came out to What's Going On?
Yes, that's what he came out to.
By Four Non Blondes?
Probably not by them. It was a remix of that song, though.
Oh, God, I love that song.
It's a good song.
I sing that at karaoke.
It's a good song, but that's what he came out to. And then Jake Shields comes out to Seven Nation Army on some killer shit.
Oh, my God, and I try.
Yeah,
that song's going to be stuck in my head now.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that.
This match...
Jesus. This match was about 6 minutes of pushing back and forth. Eventually, Jake Shields pulled guard for a minute, and then he gets back up, and they go back to pushing. The match didn't really go to the ground until the last, 2 minutes of the match, Josh?
Something like that. It was contested a lot on the feet.
Jake was pushing forward actively. He was definitely controlling the standing space. You saw them both go for like Russian ties. Kit Dale is actually a lot better on the feet than I was expecting. I saw him work some wrestling and working some Russian ties. I just thought I saw a lot more out of Dale than I expected on the feet. Again, you would see him work for like single legs and other stuff. I just expected for Jake to have more wrestling and Dale to not be able to do anything on the feet. And I was completely wrong about that. So it's always nice to be, surprised.
Yeah. Anyway, near the end of the match, Jake grabbed up a heel hook and tried to break Kit's leg, and Kit was messing with his feet trying to
he had a toe hold.
Jake's leg. It was not as exciting as we thought it would be.
It was Kit Dale's Fight to Win Pro debut. It was Jake Shields', I think, third match for Fight to Win, at least.
At least.
And Jake gets the decision. I think he really wins on a heel hook, on a pretty deep heel hook attempt. And Kit was making some faces when the heel hook was in, like he was unhappy about it. At one point, he actually lets go of the toe hold he has on Jake, probably 5 or 8 seconds before time runs out to start defending the heel hook because the heel hook looks relatively unpleasant. I think that's what wins the match ultimately at the end, is that one heel hook attempt right as time ran out from Jake Shields. So that'll do it for Fight to Win Pro 62. Jake Shields versus Kit Dale. On to the Iron Brown Belt Europe event for Copo Podio.
Worst name ever.
Josh hates the name. I mean, there are worse names.
I don't know.
Bellator.
That's not as bad as Iron
I
Brown
honestly
Belt.
don't care. Everyone gives shit for Bellator. I don't care. I think Bellator is actually a pretty good name.
Iron fucking Brown Belt. Think about that. Think about that.
I don't care, Josh. I think it's a good name. I'm gonna go full on that. I think it's a good name, Iron Brown Belt, because our sport involves metal.
Anyway, so there were a couple of super fights on this card, and then the Iron Brown Belt Challenge. Maybe I'm just not like hard enough to be an Iron Brown Belt. Maybe that's
Josh. You go
That's
back
what
down
I'm
to
looking
you go to 160. You'll be hard enough for Iron Brown Belt. Right now you're just too soft.
Maybe that's it. So in the blue belt super match, I like that they call them super matches, not super fights. You had Saul Sanchez defeating Sander Briggeland by armbar in the purple belt super match. Sindre Bogue, won on points over Alberto Guzman in one of the brown belt super matches. Vigard, Randenberg. Oh, man.
These are some European names, and Josh and I are struggling.
Vigard Randenberg defeated Guillermo, not Guillermo, not Guy.
Guy Mendes.
Hey, Joe Rogan also called him Guy Mendes, so you're in good company. Guillermo Jardim by clock choke, and he got promoted after he won the match, so he's now a black belt. And the other brown belt super match, which was no-gi, and Svedson won with a back take in overtime over Larry Campos. Black belt super match, Muslim. Oh God,
Is it Muslim or Muslim?
Muslim? I mean, I'm reading it the way I've read other words because I'm uncultured. Let's call him Muslim. Muslim Potsagarov won on points over Henrique Junau. Iron Brown Belt has just thrown me off. So again, everybody's fighting everybody. So you have all these people fighting against everyone.
So everyone in the Iron Brown Belt tournament, the way Copo Podio runs it, if you're not familiar with how they run their events, is that everyone faces everyone, and whoever accrues the most wins over everyone else is your winner.
So that's the other thing, is they have an elimination stage as well, where each fighter competed against everybody twice, chosen through some random drawing system. And it's used the same way as the Copo Podio scoring phases. That's how they score this. Submission is worth 5 points. Win by points is 3. Win by advantage is 2. And a draw equals 1. So you had to win a whole lot, where if you won by submission, you were paired up against another person that won by submission. If you won by points, you were paired up with the points people. And the highest scores automatically qualified for the final stage.
Again, this is sort of similar to what Kasai is doing. I think they use a very similar scoring system.
Sort of.
But they also use IBJJF points. Again, we're having a lot of super fights and organizations that are using vastly different rule sets. And I think that in the next couple years, we'll start to see a more agreed upon rule set for a lot of these super fight events. But Copo Podio does this in a really different way that's similar to Kasai, that has some EBI elements and some other things.
So anyway, after all the hullabaloo and all these other people going in and out and people competing 8 billion times against each other, Tarek Hopstock from Norway wins the Iron Brown Belt. So now we have 2 of the 3 Iron Brown Belts. We have a heavyweight Iron Brown Belt from Brazil. We have a lightweight Iron Brown Belt from Europe. And then again, this is on their Instagram. You can find this pretty easily. There's a question mark. It says Iron Brown Belt America at middleweight. So Kenan Duarte is the heavyweight champion. Tarek is the lightweight champion. So now we're looking for a middleweight up to 88 kilos. Are they all going to compete against each other in a round robin? They have not put it out.
Yeah, I'm putting my money on Kenan Duarte if they do that. Just saying.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah, competed this weekend on Spyder. We'll talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see who goes up and to see what they do with this. It's still a dumb name.
You just do not like the name, Josh.
No, I don't, because it's dumb. And mind you, the 88 kilos, if a rough calculation, is 193.6 pounds. So if you're in that weight category, maybe you can become the Iron Brown Belt from America.
So that'll do it for the Iron Brown Belt event. On to an event that snuck up on Josh and I, the Spyder BJJ Invitational. Spyder is an apparel company that I've used for years when I was a skier. And now they do BJJ apparel as well, but they have a championship that we had no idea about until about the middle of last week. That was this weekend. And so it was happening, I think, at about 3 a.m. our time on Sunday morning. And they put on some good matches, good show, good promotion.
Slightly different rule set, but not anything that would throw you off. Maine apparently listened to the commentary on YouTube, which was in Portuguese.
I think it was Galvao doing the commentary.
And I think it was Shane Hill.
Yep, that's what it looked like.
Was on the English commentary. It was kind of bland, the commentary. Not anything to write home about. But the action really, so we had an under 76 kilo and an above 76 kilo. And these were to get into the tournament that's coming up in July.
Yeah, this is a qualifier event that Spyder was running so you can get an entry into the tournament in July.
So, the winners of each division are going to go up against, some of the other people that have already qualified or already in the tournament. Paulo Miao or Joao Miao? One of the Miaos is in it. Shane Hill is in it. There's a whole lot of people in it, so it'll be very interesting. The other thing is it takes purple, brown, and black belts.
And it puts them together.
And you just throw them all together. So you have just a random smattering of people against each other. Sometimes you have black versus black, brown versus brown, purple versus purple, or purple versus black, brown versus purple. You get the idea. Very exciting. The matches, a lot of them were quick, or everybody fought for submission as much as possible. First match of the night was and I'm gonna butcher these names, and they had them in the score box, and anybody that had like Sang Yun Lee, they had little what's the word I'm looking for? Initials. There we go. So it was like S something and then Lee, and then
our favorite thing for when they list the names,
which is fine with me because the commentary team did say these people's names about 800,000 times each match, so you knew who was competing. So Sang-Hoon I already messed it up. Sang-Hoon Lee versus Hugo Marquez. Marquez came out hard, and a lot of these Korean guys I don't know that much about, and it's very interesting to see
the level of BJJ in Korea.
Exactly.
These guys are bringing it out of nowhere. I think
They're going.
Asia, I think, is the next frontier for BJJ.
Yeah. So Marquez just went and did not stop. He was up 12-0, I think, near the end of the match, and was fighting for a choke and got it in the dying seconds of the match. But you saw people were just going. You had Ju Young Cho versus Jonatas Gracie from Atos, who I feel could have been the favorite to possibly win the whole thing, even though, he's not a black belt. He advanced. What was cool seeing at first was the Andy Murasaki versus Victor Nathal. I think that's how you say his name.
I think that's what they said on the broadcast.
So they were both purple belts, and Murasaki was up until the end of the match, pretty much. And in the dying seconds, made like a mistake because he fell for a knee bar, and Victor came up and got a sweep from it because he got his leg away and got the ad. So it put him up by an ad, and he won. In the plus 76 kilo, we started off with a bang. Victor Hugo flying triangled, and I wouldn't say it was flying triangled, I guess. He pulled guard essentially, and then just dove over and flying triangled him, but just snapped it up super quick. Kanan Duarte put some moves on.
Yeah, he's your brown belt champion, Josh.
Yes, but the Eric Muniz, who again, somebody that was out of a gym that I wasn't aware of, was working. He and Victor Nathaniel were both heavy on the worm guard, and they were pretty good at it. I'm
surprised by it. I think you're starting to finally see people figure out the worm guard and be able to play it. Now that it's been out there for a couple years, you've seen guys begin to incorporate it into their game. They've watched the DVD enough. They've seen Keenan play. They've seen him develop it, and you're starting to see these guys now at the higher levels begin to play it and begin to play it well and be able to transition off of it between the lapel guard and the lasso guard and the worm guard. And
somebody was talking on one of the super fight cards that we were watching that somebody is better at worm guard than Keenan is.
I heard that too. I can't believe
remember
it, but I heard it. I forget where it was, Josh. You're right.
They were saying he trains with Leandro Lo. I do remember that. He trains with Leandro Lo, and Leandro Lo has competed against Keenan. And we even brought this up before.
Yeah.
So there are people that are working it. Maybe they have other things that Keenan doesn't do. I don't know. I wish I had more expendable income. I would subscribe to all the jiu-jitsu websites.
Yeah, Buchecha just launched his this last week.
God, I don't have the money for this stuff. But I would definitely subscribe to Keenan's and AOJ and stuff like that. Marcelo, which Askin, I had for a while.
Colat.
Well, Colat's really cheap. If you just pay $100 once, you got it for life.
Yeah, Josh, but it's still $100 once.
Okay, but that's not like $25 a month.
I agree, or $29 a month.
$250 a year, or whatever.
Grappler's Guide. There are more resources available for jiu-jitsu now, even were like 3 years ago. It's just, It's absolutely crazy the amount of high-level guys that are like, this is my stuff. I show you for the money.
Oh, my God.
That's what they all start. It all starts with, hey, guys. It all starts like that.
Why are they Italian?
That's my Brazilian accent,
and
Josh.
Bad Italian at that.
No, Josh, Brazilian. Hey, guys, I'm going to show you the choke. I'm
going to get the pizza pie.
I'm going to show you the choke, Josh.
Oh, God.
But back to the Spyder Championships.
It's not very long. You can watch the whole thing. It's a little over 2 hours. You can skip through the introductions, all that stuff, and get right to the matches. It was another card that I was like, yes, this is something really awesome to watch.
And it looked like a packed house.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it looked big. The arena looked good. The lighting looked good. The angles looked good. It looked like production quality similar to ACBJJ. And again, you're starting to see organizations put on a professional show for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So in the plus 76 kilo category, Kanan Duarte took it away, won it. Vinicius Ferreira from Alliance was in second, and Victor Hugo from Hibero Jiu-Jitsu was in third.
All names we've talked about before.
Right. In the under 76 kilo, Hugo Marquez from Soul Fighters takes the place. Victor Nathaniel from Nova União Club Feijão. This guy was a purple belt, and he went to the finals against the black belt and really put it on. Like, it was impressive. He very much so impressed me. And Jonatas Gracie topped it out at third place, and they did have third place matches. So that was
so you didn't
awesome.
have two third places. You had one guy going away with the third place.
So what we know right now for the quarterfinal entries for these tournaments that they're doing in July, you have Mateus Godoy from Alliance, who was the 2017 champion in the plus 76 category. Hudson Mateus from Caio Terro, who we just saw, who beast moded Braulio. and Keenan Cornelius from Atos. In the under 76, you have Shane Hill from Team Lloyd Irvin, who was the 2017 champion. Wanki Choi from Beast Gym was the 2016 champion. And Paulo Paulo Miao from Unity Jiu-Jitsu. So, adding to those people in the under 76, you now have Hugo Marquez. Adding to the plus 76, you have Kenan Duarte. So you have Kenan and Keenan in the same division. I'm very, very, very interested to see how they're going to work that out.
If you don't know, they're both at Atos. Kenan is a purple belt.
Brown belt.
Brown belt. Keenan is a black belt. I don't know what we knew that. We just covered it for Iron Brown belt like a month ago.
Yeah. And I just said his name like 10 minutes ago that he was the Iron Brown belt
I
champion.
just misspoke, Josh. I knew he was a brown belt.
He didn't know. It's a really good card to watch, especially for no gi. Or not for, see, now I misspoke.
Yep.
For the gi.
Yep, all these matches were in the gi, except for one or two of the super fight matches.
It was awesome.
Go back, watch it, enjoy jiu-jitsu, support jiu-jitsu.
Go on Facebook and watch it. Go to their Facebook and watch it.
Don't go to YouTube. Unless you speak Portuguese. So then go to YouTube and watch it.
Yeah. And you can also catch some of the other stuff. Their older cards as well. They have the live streams up as well. So if you need to catch up on it.
Yep. And apparently Flo will be having some coverage of it in some form on the website. If you do have Flo, if you want to look at it that way, I'm not sure what they'll have for coverage. They were kind of vague on their podcast when they talked about it.
There's going to be some videos of stuff. There was the one where they were training at the gym, but that's all that's up right now. So it'll be very interesting to see what comes up afterwards.
So that'll do it for Spyder. On to EBI Featherweights 15.
And this is upcoming. Of course, this is this coming Saturday.
Yep, we're in the preview section of the podcast.
9 p.m. Eastern time, according to Fight Pass.
So they usually start, 9-ish or so.
On Sunday. So we get a Saturday. We get some time to digest. We're not going to be yelling like, holy shit, look, just what happened. So we won't be watching it as we're recording. We'll actually have some time to digest it and tell you about it.
So we have all the names. And again, usually EBI puts out the brackets like 1 or 2 days before. So we'll probably be getting the brackets on Thursday or Friday.
We'll make an Instagram post or a Twitter post.
We'll do it that way. So we're just going to read off the names. We don't like to speculate until we have brackets out because we just have no idea which one of these guys will end up on the same side of the bracket or who's going to face who. Moving through the card, we have Eddie Wolverine Cummings, who's the current champion at 145, is in. We have Ashley Williams. We have Junie Ocasio, or Edwin Ocasio. He's the guy we saw on Kasai a couple weeks ago that really impressed us. We have Gio Martinez, who beat Eddie Cummings at 135 when Eddie sucked down all the way to 35 to make that. So we may get a rematch. I assume they'll put both those guys on the opposite side of the bracket so we can see them potentially in the finals, but who knows? We have Jason Hayden, another guy we've seen in the past on not Fight to Win, on EBI. On EBI. And then we have Josh. Give me that next name.
Do you want the whole name or do you just want part of it?
I want the whole name.
João Alfredo Tavares Marinho. Boom, I nailed that one. João Marinho. So he's on. You have Joe Baise or Baise?
I think it's Baise.
I'm going to say Baise because that sounds cooler. Joe Soto. A lot of these people are EBI veterans.
If you know Joe Soto is Tashi Fights Palace champion, fights in the UFC. He actually did he get cut?
Yeah,
I think he just lost. I think he just got cut.
Yeah, he went to the finals of one of the EBIs as
Good
well.
Good grappler.
John Battle, Kevin Burbrick, Mike Davila.
Oh, Kevin Burbrick's in now.
He was.
Oh yeah, he's not the qualifier. He's the guy that won Gracie Torrance.
Yes. The Gracie Worlds.
Gracie Worlds.
Yeah,
and Gracie Torrance.
Rafael Domingos, who was also again deep in the tournament. Rodrigo Lima, Ratinho, big name from jiu-jitsu. Sergio Hernandez and Sergio Perez. There's also, of course, we always do one of these, and it seems that they've moved away from doing teen super fights.
Which I'm honestly not upset about.
We're not seeing the Grace Gundrum hype train, essentially.
Right.
So we have a combat jiu-jitsu match at 135. You have Ben Eddy, who just defeat Wilson Hayes at the Combat Jiu-Jitsu.
Like a triangle armbar, I think.
Yes, like a sort of dead orchard. No,
It was
triangle. It was an armbar from the triangle position.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's Ben Eddy again with the goofy mustache, and Nick Honstein, who is another combat jiu-jitsu veteran. He was the original 135 champion, was he not?
He may have been.
He was, and then he was, because then he lost to Nick Pace, and that was a big deal.
I remember that.
So
now.
there was gonna be a new champion. So he's former champion. So this will be a very interesting match. Ben Eddy's
looks like a good card.
Yeah, Ben Eddy's slapping technique looked weak. I don't think he's gonna have that Honstein slapping technique down.
Not gonna be Wagner from the top.
They gotta watch Boss Rutan videos and just watch how he strikes. Watch them go on Fight Pass and watch his old Pancrase fights and watch how he hits, or just YouTube and watch his compilation of things, and he talks about how he hits people with the palm of like the base of his hand.
On Joe Rogan, or he talks about this all the time.
Yeah,
like he's talked about this for years. How he pulls his hand back and how he
hits him with the bottom of his palm, not the middle where he's slapping them. Literally the hard part of your hand. And he's like, that's how I knocked dudes out. And people always thought I was punching them, and it was just those open hand, bottom of the hand palm strikes. EBI is going to be awesome. I'm excited to see Eddie Cummings compete again. I'm excited to see Junior Ocasio versus any of these dudes. I think Junior Ocasio versus Gio Martinez would be a fire match.
Oh, yeah.
A fire match. So hopefully, we'll put something out when brackets come out, and, we can, who do you think's going to win? Because we're going to be like, oh shit, like this is what we think's going to happen, and you'll get a little bit of that. But that's what we have for right now. It's on Fight Pass on a Saturday, so you'll have time to digest it. Looking forward to it.
So on to Polaris Pro 6, again on the same day.
Earlier in the day, though.
Because it's on UK time at the O2 Arena.
1:30, if I'm not mistaken. That's probably the start of the preliminary card.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're broadcasting the whole event on Fight Pass. I think they're doing the prelims and the main event.
Amazing.
Yeah, even the prelims look good. We start off the prelims
with Emilia Tukenen versus Leonie Muslow. You have, and that is a catchweight 61 kilo gi match. You then have Jay Butler versus Sean McDonough in a catchweight 76 kilo gi match. I find it kind of weird that these are all just like catchweights. Why can't you just this is your own card. Just make it at this weight. You don't have to say it's catchweight.
They might be listing everything as a catchweight. I'm not sure.
No, because some of them you see that one is specifically as middleweight, and then the under 55 ladies match. That's kind of demeaning. Anyway, so the next match is the middleweight gi match. Santeri Lilius versus Bradley Hill. Tommy Langecker, who exposed Herbert Santos. He's going in a catchweight of 82 kilos in the gi versus Charlie McDonald. You have Jake McKenzie, Mr. Deep Half Guard. Different deep half guard than like Bernardo Faria, but still excellent deep half guard at a catchweight of 76 kilos in the gi versus Yosef Nabi. And the headliner of the preliminary card is Ross Nicholas, excuse me. Is that Nick? No, see, I need my glasses on. It's Nichols. It's 2 L's, not an I. Ross Nichols versus Tommy Pulkinen. I'm so bad at
Buchanan.
Okay, we'll go with that. It's at a catchweight of 73 kilos no gi. So, starting off our main card is Chelsea Leah versus Fionn Davies. Man, I really wish they had better writing of these things. And I wish Maine would zoom in just a little bit more because I am blind. Yep, Fionn, 2 F's next to each other. That's the under 55 ladies no gi. Why couldn't you just say it was under 55 kilos? We know they're women. Just say it's under 55 kilos. Anyway, next match, catchweight 72, men's 72 kilo.
It's a no-gi match.
Yeah. Ash Grimshaw, excellent name, sweet headshot, versus Marco Kanya. Another catchweight match at 77.1 kilos. Weird weight. No-gi match. Chris Fishgold versus Marcin Held, UFC fighter. The under 55 kilo ladies no-gi match. You have Gizeri Matuda versus Serena Gabrielli.
I think Gary is a world champion.
Yeah.
Very, very good grappler.
Very good. One of my favorite grapplers. One of my favorite grapplers is the co-main event in a catchweight of 80 kilos, no-gi, Benson Henderson versus everybody's favorite AJ Agazarm. I think their wrestling's going to cancel each other out.
I think I would agree. Benson's a good wrestler. AJ's a good wrestler. They both have wrestling backgrounds. Again, at the weight class, I think it's about 100 and what is this?
70 some odd pounds.
76. I think it's 176. So I think it's a little bit larger for AJ. I think Benson's going to be a slightly larger guy here, but I don't think it'll play a huge part. Again, I have not seen Benson win a ton of super fight matches. He shows up a lot, and he competes a lot in these things. I just have not seen him win.
He's getting out there. He's got to do something. I mean, he's sort of fighting for Bellator.
He's fighting for Bellator. I think he's gonna conclude his fighting career sooner rather than later. Since he moved to Bellator, he's not had huge success in Bellator. So yeah, I think AJ takes this. It'll be interesting to see how it does get to the feet. I don't think either of these guys will pull. I assume AJ's going to come out aggressive, really pushing on the forehead, and it's going to get a little uncomfortable when the referee has to step in and go, "Hey, you can't punch him in the head." But it'll be an interesting matchup. This event, again, Jake Shields getting busy, is main evented by Jake Shields versus Craig Jones. It's a middleweight bout, 83.9 kilograms, no-gi. You know, Jake Shields going from California and then over to the UK. I think it's England, right? O2 Arena.
Yeah. I think it's England.
I think it's England. Is it like England or UK, or is it like another place?
It's England. I'm just making fun of you for. I think it's England.
Geography is not my strong suit, Josh.
I'm aware of that.
I don't know what countries are part of the UK, or is it England, or is it like a UK, or is it like London?
It a Brexit?
Yeah, I don't know anymore, man. I'm confused. Josh, how do you see this one going?
Interesting.
I think Craig will pull probably immediately.
I think that's a safe bet. I don't think Jake Shields and Gordon Ryan are the same level of grappler. I know Jake has been grappling longer, but Gordon has been in that leg lock system.
Yeah.
Pretty much the entire time, and Craig Jones took it to Gordon Ryan.
Almost beat him. Almost broke his arm.
Yeah, he took it to him. So this will be. I think it's going to be really tight, and I don't want to guess who's going to win.
I'm going to go Craig Jones by heel hook. That being said, I think something really interesting right now is happening with this matchup. You have you have Craig Jones and Kit Dale, who are training together right now. Apparently, they've been training together recently. And you have Jake Shields, who just beat Kit Dale in a close decision, but he almost beat him with a heel hook, because now Jake Shields is out with the Down to Hard Death Squad guys with Henzo's gym. He's no longer at Stockton. He's in New York working with all the DDS guys. Craig Jones just recently competed against Gordon Ryan in a very close match. So you see a huge crossover between these guys and their training partners. You see both of these guys have competed against the other people's training partners. So their whole camps know about each other and have looked extensively at each other and competed specifically against each other. So I think it'll be a really interesting matchup. I think Craig gets it done just because I think Craig Jones is on a tear right now, coming off ADCC. He's had some, losses to Charles Negromonte at the Euros, the Worlds, 2017 Worlds. I just think Craig Jones is has more knowledge of the leg lock game and is a little longer and it'll get it done.
And there's a very interesting Craig Jones study from BJJ Scout that he shows like his guard game from there, or his half guard game really, and how he sets things up. It'll be really interesting to watch it happen and to see what goes on. I know I'm going to be at work part of this, so my phone might be in the corner like playing this while it's happening. Fortunately, my big boss won't be there. He'll be or I guess recovering from Chinese New Year. So
you're golden, Josh. Put that phone on the...
Oh, no, he's coming in later. He even said specifically, I'm not going to be in early. I'm going to be in much later. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So...
next Saturday is a packed day of grappling.
Yeah.
It's gonna be insane. So in case EBI and Polaris wasn't enough, Fight to Win Pro 63 is also February 17th.
Holy shit.
Yeah, at Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And it's headlined by a 160-pound black belt no-gi match, Justin Rader from Lovato Jiu-Jitsu versus Matt Vernon from Primate BJJ.
Following that up, a 150-pound black belt gi match, Rolly Delgado from Westside MMA versus Omar French from Omar French BJJ.
We have a 185-pound brown belt gi title match, Kevin Williams from American Elite versus Hunter Colvin from Triton.
Jumping back into the black belts, 240-pound black belt gi match, Devon McCarroll versus to be announced. I guess his opponent dropped, and they needed to fill that in. So hopefully he does have an opponent. Going to 145 brown belt no-gi title match, James Partridge from Triton versus Mateus Gabriel from Checkmat.
On to a 185-pound black belt gi match. This is the last of the black belts. We have Todd Ryan from Ryan BJJ versus Mitch Hall from Westside MMA.
Going down to the 195-pound brown belt no-gi match, you have JJ Young from American Elite versus Carl Pulliam from Red Line Jiu-Jitsu.
We have a 165-pound brown belt no-gi match, Dylan Scott from Fayetteville BJJ versus Landon Moore from American Elite.
You have a 160-pound brown belt gi match, Michael Smith from AMA versus Fernando Salas from Soul Fighters.
You have a 155-pound no-gi match. Doesn't say the belt. I assume it's a brown belt. Troy Russell III from OMA versus Santos Vargas from AMA.
This is a match that I'm going to be very interested in because I will tell you in a second. 145-pound brown belt gi match, Tavares Collins from AMA versus former teammate of mine, Paul Ambrose from The Forge. Paul's 2-0 at Fight to Win. He was training with me when I started as a white belt. He was
here
always,
in Baltimore, Josh?
Yes, here in Baltimore. Yes, here in Baltimore. He was in the Navy, so he went out to California after he was the first person promoted to purple belt from my coach, Lee Sinkowski. So it's always awesome to see him. He's putting the stuff out on Instagram right now, letting people know he's training. He's getting all his training in and everything like that. Good luck to him. Do work. He did well in his first two matches. I'm excited to watch this one. 140-pound brown belt no-gi match. Sains. I'm going to go with Sains. I like that. Sains from Lovato Jiu-Jitsu versus Spencer Smith from Gutho BJJ.
So that'll do it for the black and brown belts on the card. After the card, there's a series of purple belts, and then this card actually has some orange belts and yellow belts and some teens on it. So showcasing some of the younger competitors and some of the kids.
Yeah. Hey, Maine. What's that name?
Win.
Good job. Proud of you.
Yeah. I'm getting better. You know, this episode I think is a hallmark episode for me. I think I've butchered fewer names on this episode than I have,
Ever. Yeah, I'd go with that.
So that'll do it for our breakdowns and recaps of the events this week. We want to give a shout out to our sponsors.
So again, we fancy now. We got a few sponsors, and one of our sponsors is Grapple Academy Martial Arts,
located in Nottingham, Maryland.
Greg Liu, who is someone who helped me previously with my Fight to Win match, helped me get a few more sponsors. He sponsored me. He is now helping sponsor the Grappling Rewind podcast. He is affiliated with Baltimore BJJ. If you get the chance, if you're in that area, Perry Hall, Nottingham, White Marsh, whatever you want to call it.
Right around Baltimore.
Exactly. Stop on in. It's got a great academy. It's got a yoga studio inside.
Just opened up a brand new facility, twice as big as the previous facility. Great new space.
Great people to train with. Again, if you get the chance, stop on in. Get the training in. Say hi. Tell them we sent you. And good training. As always, you can email us at thegrapplingrewind@gmail.com. You can check us out on Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere you can find
Facebook.
Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Grappling Rewind.
Instagram.
Grappling Rewind.
Twitter.
Grappling Rewind.
Reach out to us on social media. If you got something you want us to cover, you want to clarify, we are here.
You want to tell us we're idiots. Hey, let us know.
You want us to pronounce your name correctly?
Let us know. Subscribe on the YouTube page. Leave us a review.
Helps us out a lot.
It helps us out. And, it eventually will help you out. We like to give back. We're doing this as something that isn't done. So help us help you. Again, as always, I'm Josh.
I'm Maine.
And this is the Grappling Rewind podcast.
We'll see you on the mats.